Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto Found His Soulmate, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The morning sun bathed his apartment with glittering light. Opening his eyes slowly, he once more saw the sleeping beauty on his chest, rising and falling rhythmically with light breaths and soft moos here and then. He loved and hoped to wake up like this every single day, her the first thing he could see. Extremely slowly, he got up, placing her gently on the bed, trying not to wake her up. He slowly drifted to the door, heading to the kitchen to make some breakfast. Before he left, he took one last glance at her peaceful smiling form on his bed. He couldn't help but smile. Slowly, her eyelids drifted open from the light of the morning sun. The room was very cool despite the light of the sun bathing all of it. Suddenly, she realized something was missing, something warm and strong. She slowly turned her head around to realize she was in his bed, alone. She gasped, realizing he wasn't here, and slowly sat up on the bed, her body still a little numb from the sleepiness. Sitting at the edge of the bed, she stretched her arms and legs and yawned. She could swear that she hadn't slept so well in her entire life. These last 2 nights were far more comfortable and relaxing than the ones she had in her room back at the compound. She knew the reason was a blonde-haired shinobi. A familiar smell guided her out of his bedroom. It was coming from the kitchen, and she slowly walked towards the source. When she reached the kitchen, she couldn't help but giggle lightly at the sight. Naruto was trying to prepare some ramen for breakfast. He wore an apron and shifted from foot to foot in anticipation for the water to boil in order to make the noodles. Suddenly, out of nowhere, 2 gentle warm hands sn around his waist, and caught him in an embrace from behind. He could feel her rubbing her cheek on his back. He smiled and turned around so she could rest her head on his chest. She began rubbing her cheek again. "I missed my pillow," she whispered, and that earned a light chuckle from him. "I missed my sheet," he whispered, earning a cute giggle from her. "Want some ramen for breakfast?" he asked, grinning widely. She looked up at his grinning face and smiled. "I'd like that," she said, and buried her face in his chest again. He chuckled once more and turned to prepare the ramen. Somewhere in Konoha, in a shadowed alley, 2 figures stood at the deep end of it, where nearly no light could fall in. They both wore heavy cloaks with their hoods on. "So, did you find them?" one of them asked, sounding female. The other one, a bit taller than her, shook his head. "No, I managed to look at the Hokage mansion, but these demons were nowhere to be seen," the other one said, sounding male. "You know I expect results. I didn't let you out and risk my position for nothing," the female said. Flashback. Naruto walked in the Hyuga mansion with an unconscious male on his shoulder. Hiashi, in the meantime, was sitting at the dining room with an elder, seeming to discuss clan matters. Naruto paused for a few meters behind the door, hearing shouts coming from it. He decided to eavesdrop a little, wanting to hear anything about Hinata's marriage or something. Not that it could happen though, who can marry a corpse anyway? "Chika, I understand your nervousness, but Hanabi is not of age yet, and Hinata has yet to prove not capable of the position. She is the heir and will remain the heir until evidence of her incapability rise," Hiashi said solemnly. Naruto could imagine the look on the elder's face. "But, Hiashi," the woman, as it seemed from the voice, tried to protest. "No buts, Chika. My opinion is final. You may leave now," Hiashi said. The woman gritted her teeth. After a second, her face returned to the usual Hyuga cold one. "I understand, Hiashi," she said, and stood up to leave. "You fool won't stop me, not you, not that demon boy," she thought, and turned around to leave. Naruto opened the door before he could be caught red-handed. "Special delivery," he said, patting with his free hand the unconscious man on his shoulder. He noticed that the woman's eyes went wide in shock, for more than a second. Hiashi, on the other hand, looked emotionless as ever. "May I ask, what are you doing with one of my men, Uzumaki-san?" Hiashi asked seriously. Naruto frowned. "You sure he's yours?" he asked, equally serious. Hiashi nodded. "Yes, he's Chika's personal assistant," he said. Naruto turned to glare at the woman, who now also had an emotionless mask on her. I see, the boy said and smirked. He noticed a very light frown on Jika, but it disappeared as fast as it came, less than a second. Well, Hiyashi-sama, this one good fella over here, was caught red-handed with Kakarei, Naruto said, looking between Jika and Hiyashi. What do you mean, Uzumaki-san? The man asked, having a tint of curiosity in his voice. Naruto grinned. How may I say it? Well, he brought his free hand on his chin and started to rub it slowly, the other one still holding the man, to both Jika's and Hiyashi's silent surprise. Kakarei sent a bunch of men to K or K Hinata. I happened, he said, to cover the fact that Hinata was with him, to be close in the area along with my teammates, Sakura-chan and Sasuke team. We noticed Hinata-chan sitting on a bench, and suddenly an army of around 20 fools surrounded her. They hadn't seen us, so we took them by surprise, and after a few minutes, it was over, he said, grinning widely at the emotionless Hyugas. And how does Kakarei and Gokei get involved in this? Jika asked. Gokei probably was the man on Naruto's shoulder. He then realized he still carried him and lifted him from his shoulder, placing him against the wall. He turned around and grinned. We looked around for more of them. Hinata was suddenly caught off guard by Kakarei and was carried away at an abandoned house at a desolate district of Konoha. I managed to keep track of them, and here I am, he said, still grinning. Where's Hinata right now? Where's Kakarei? Jika asked. Naruto looked at her emotionless mask, and kept grinning. Don't worry. Hinata-chan is taking care of Kakarei. Now that you mention it, I should go check how she's doing. I can't miss Kakarei's punishment for the world. Naruto said cheerfully, punched the air above him, and left in a blur of orange and black. Hiyashi sighed. Jika then turned around to look at the clan leader. Hiyashi, I wish to take care of the traitor. He is after all, my assistant, or at least he was. It seems fitting, for me to choose the punishment, she said, and Hiyashi nodded. Very well, Jika. Take him away, he said, pointing with his hand the still unconscious man. Jika nodded, lifted Gokei on her shoulder, something somehow funny, since the man was taller yet she could carry him with ease, and left the room, smirking. End of a rather big flashback, lol. I understand, Jika-sama. I will find them sooner or later. Don't you worry, the man said. Jika seemed to smirk under the nearly not existing light. Good, I think I can trust you to do at least one job right, Gokei. She said, and Gokei bowed slightly. Oh, and Gokei, is the trap ready? The task to lure them there won't be easy. Jika said, and the man just bowed again. Everything is prepared, Jika-sama. Though I don't understand why you just don't mention to Hiyashi that his daughter is a demon now. FN Naruto and Hinata aren't demons, but the villagers is always as stubborn, he asked curiously. Because, this bee will surely live, even if she gets punished. I need her out of the way, permanently, she said, and both figures now smirked. I understand. Hanabi-sama will make a better leader, Gokei said, and Jika nodded. Of course. Hinata would never be easy to manipulate with the beliefs she has right now, would she? She asked, mockery in her words. Yes, Jika-sama. Hanabi-sama is far easier to control, since she grew up with the beliefs of a true Hyuga, Gokei said, and smirked again. Very well, you're dismissed. And don't come back without results, she said seriously, and Gokei bowed. After a second, they were both gone. Somewhere else in Konoha, a pair of teens walked silently the streets towards the training areas. So, how do you like your new style, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked curiously. The streets were empty and the teens used their mental conversations only when needed. It's pretty good, Naruto-kun. It's better than normal Juken. Though where did Kyubi-kun learn such styles? She asked, curiosity emitting from her eyes as she looked at the boy walking next to her, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. He turned to look at her, and grinned. Dunno, he said, and shrugged. Kids, do the words, immortal demon, ring a bell or something? I'm older than your whole village together. It wasn't hard to create a new style, taking advantage of the girl's natural talent. That goddamn Juken restricted you from using your body's flexibility well, the demon said, rolling his eyes. Hinata nodded. Juken was a style that required physical strength, accuracy, and a good Byakugan. The Ho-Juken, rather similar to the normal one, took far greater advantage of one's flexibility, mixing it with the other required traits. It gave better dodging chances and faster attack movement. Combine it with the QB Byakugan, and here you go. Sly, fast, and beautiful. The moves were ones of harmony and pure fluid body movement. The only flaw was that defense was rather weak, so dodging was the best way to escape an attack. Soon, they reached the usual training area. Kiba and Shino once more were found training. Soon, Kiba and Naruto began to spar once more. In the end, no one won as usual. Hinata could tell that Naruto was holding back, as always, but didn't mention it. Instead, she just giggled. She couldn't help but admire her boyfriend's strength, and she knew he admired her own. So, Naruto, what kind of special training are you guys doing? Kiba asked when they finally calmed down and sat next to a tired as always Shino, and a smiling Hinata. Kiba could swear that she never smiled or laughed that much before. That's why it's called special dog breath. You will know whenever it's needed. Naruto said, and Kiba just sighed in disappointment. Don't worry, Kiba-kun. You will know eventually, Hinata said happily. Hinata, did something happen? You never were that cheerful, Kiba asked, pointing a finger in disbelief at Hinata's cheerful mood. The girl nodded. Hi. I won't get married, she said and smiled. Shino raised an eyebrow under his hood while Kiba grinned widely. Great. Then you can come out for launch with me? He asked hopefully. Hinata's expression now turned a little sad. I'm sorry, Kiba-kun. I have much work to do today, she lied. She didn't have much to do today except training with her new chakra and style. But she couldn't let the others know about her relationship with Naruto yet. Kiba just sighed and looked down in defeat. Naruto had frowned at the question but quickly grinned, not wanting to reveal anything. So, Hinata, what happened with Kakarei? Asked a curious Shino. She turned to look at him. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. How could she say it? He's Naruto said, and all three turned to look at him. Shino raised his eyebrows, Kiba's jaw had dropped, and Hinata just smiled in relief that Naruto said it, relieving her of the hard position. How come? Shino asked. Kiba nodded in agreement. He too wanted to know. Simple. He tried to harm Hinata-chan, so he's Naruto said and grinned widely. Kiba sighed. Naruto, you can't just go around and K people who want to harm her. He said. Naruto nodded. I know. But K attempts are punished with death, right? He asked and rubbed the back of his head. Besides, Sasuke team ended him with some nice eye contact, he said and grinned widely again. Shino and Kiba felt shivers go down their spines, though Shino's was unnoticeable. They both knew what the Mangekyo Sharingan was capable of, they had heard stories from those who had experienced it, and they weren't nice. After a few more minutes of chatting, both Shino and Kiba left, Kiba protesting as always that Hinata had to stay with Naruto. He was curious as to what kind of special training could the blonde, Barker, as he was known, offer. And to Hinata, nonetheless. Naruto made several cage bunshin, all of them surrounding the girl. Hinata activated her QB chakra and then her enhanced Byakugan. After a few hours of intense training, Hinata practicing her Hojukan on Naruto's clones and QB giving helpful tips, they sat down on the ground, tired. Hinata from the strain she had put on her body and Naruto with the chakra he had used. Normally, Hinata could have passed out or something, but the powers of the QB were more than healing. They also enhanced stamina. No wonder that Naruto had so much of it. Combine it with his hyperactive nature, and there you go. Good. You're a quick learner, Kit. But we should also practice your physical strength. You'll need it to handle my chakra, the demon said, and Hinata nodded, walking and sitting next to Naruto, who stared out at the lake. Yeah, you're doing great, Hinata-chan. He said cheerfully, throwing her one of his toothy smiles, making her blush slightly. She loved this smile and loved being praised by him. From the shadows of the bushes at the other side of the relaxing teens, hid a tall figure, covered with a cloak and a hood. He seemed to smirk in the shadows. Now is the time. Go, he whispered, and out of nowhere, 5 more figures jumped out of the bushes. Naruto immediately stood up, Hinata following suit. All the men wore long cloaks and hoods, totally concealing their appearance. If their feet weren't exposed when they walked, you could think they floated or something. Who are you? Naruto hissed and slipped into a fighting chance, Hinata following in her Hojukan. Even without the QB chakra, she could now use it with her normal one. You don't have to know, demons. Soon, Konoha will be rid of your stain, one of them said. Both teens frowned. Why, they're freaking obsessed with the demon thing. Damn, Naruto said, and Hinata mentally nodded. All these blind fools could only look at what was inside, not what was exposed. They only saw Naruto as the vessel of Kyuubi, nothing more, nothing less. Wait, did he say demons? Why plural? Did they know Hinata had the powers too? Of course, both teens knew they were nothing like demons, but the stubbornness of the villagers was unmatchable. Sadly, the recent events with the fake rumors and Kakari's death were only adds in the villagers' hate. Enough talking. Let's finish this, another one said, and all of the hooded men nodded. They pushed their cloaks to their backs, revealing a dozen of weapons on each one of them. Probably they were prepared well for this. They all lunged several kunai, shuriken and shibans to the pair. Naruto jumped out of the way, and Hinata used a haka to deflect them. The men didn't stop here though. They all drew a katana from their sides and charged, the weapons ready to strike. Two of them were on Hinata, who used everything she had to dodge the lethal strikes. Dodging another one from the front, she ducked to avoid a strike to the end from behind, which she saw with her Byakugan of course. Ducking the blade, she made a round kick and swapped the man behind her from his feet, letting him hit the ground. Finishing the kick, she jumped out of the way from the strike of the other man behind her. Unfortunately, the uppercut strike he made with his blade landed on his teammate instead of Hinata. Naruto had trouble dodging the attacks. He wasn't as flexible as Hinata, so he used a kunai to parry many of them. Parrying another attack, he pushed one of his opponents back and launched a kick straight to his stomach, sending him flying from the chakra-empowered strike. Several shuriken flew against him from behind, and by dodging them, they landed on the man he kicked previously, stacking him on the tree, blood licking out of the wounds. Hinata dodged another strike to the end by ducking, and with a palm strike to the chest, filled with plenty of chakra, the man fell on the ground. A piercing strike meant for his stomach was dodged once more by Naruto, who upon landing, managed to jump for a round kick to the head. The man dodged and prepared to strike from below. The strike landed, and he smirked widely. Too bad. Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke, letting the man stare wide-eyed. When the hell did he manage to make shadow clones? Before he could anything else, a nice round kick on his head threw him unconscious. Hinata ran to support her boyfriend, though only one of them remained standing. He knew he had no chance against them both, and they hadn't even used their Kyuubi powers. Sir, Plan A has failed. We need to use the trap, he whispered to his headphone while the teens slowly approached. Both frowning and thinking of plenty of nice ways to finish him, many of which the Kyuubi approved. The man nodded. I won't stay here to rest like a fool, he said to the teens who frowned again. Who told you will escape anyway? Naruto said with a smirk. The man seemed to shiver at the king's intent. He started running away, using his chakra to boost his speed. Soon, he jumped in the bushes and out in the forest. Naruto-kun, they seem to know I have the powers as well. Should we chase him? Hinata asked softly, throwing a worried look at Naruto. He nodded. Yeah, he said, and he was off, her following suit. Sir, they are coming. Damn it, they are far faster. The man said in his headphone, looking behind him wide-eyed at the approaching figures of the teens. Just come here quickly. The trap is set and ready. A voice said from the other side of the radio. Yes sir, he replied and looked forward again. After a minute or two, Naruto and Hinata had nearly reached him. But suddenly, he jumped out of the way, into a small clearing at the left. They both followed suit. Exiting in the clearing, they saw no one. The clearing was empty of anyone. Where the hell did he go? Was it a genjutsu? It should be. They walked to the center of the clearing and both released chakra to undo the technique. It didn't work. It too strong. They released a small wave of Kyuubi chakra, and their eyes went wide. What the hell is this? Naruto shouted. The ground was painted with plenty of circles, seals and marks all around them. Outside the circle, stood 5 men. This markings, Hinata said softly, looking around her. They then noticed the men around them chanting something and making hand seals. Oh. Kyuubi said. What is it, Kyuubi? What the hell are they doing? Naruto asked worriedly, staring wide-eyed. Cleansing the world of 2 demons. Resistance is futile. The barrier will not allow you to get out, brats. one of the men said when he finished his seal sequence. What the? Why everyone thinks I'm a demon, only because I have powers. Naruto shouted and the men chuckled. Don't you worry, QB brat. You and your whore will not be a problem after we finish this. One of them said. Hinata gasped. This is a. She started to mumble, her heart beating in fear. She looked at Naruto and a single tear fell from her eyes. Naruto looked at her, worried to hell. What is it, Hinata-chan? He asked. She shook her head. It's a sealing circle. Oh my god, they want to seal you two in two different prisons. Muahahaha, the demons said and started laughing loudly in their minds. They both looked confused. Then we shall get out of here, he said and tried to form a Rasengan, only to notice that he couldn't summon any chakra. What the? He said, looking at his empty hand in disbelief. The runes of the circle bind disturb your chakra control to the fullest, demon brat. One of the men said and Naruto looked up in fear. You will pass the rest of eternity alone, another one said and started chuckling. They had all finished their sequences and slammed their hands to the ground. Sealing technique, time rift. They shouted in unison. Naruto grabbed Hinata in a deep hug, and she did the same. He managed to kiss her one more time on the lips, before the world around them flashed in a white light. He opened his eyes slowly, only to see that he was still at the clearing. But something was strange. There were no sounds, there was no wind, there was no smell. There was nothing. Only the trees and the land seemed to exist. He then noticed something warm hugging him tightly. She slowly opened her eyes, only to see a black and orange jacket. She looked up and saw cerulean-colored orbs looking at her in disbelief. Naruto-kun, she asked softly, raising her hand to cup his cheek, wanting to see if he was real. He did the same. Oh, stop it, kits. You're real, don't worry, QB said, and they both smiled widely. He leaned down to kiss her one more time. When they broke, she was still smiling and buried her face in his chest. So, QB, wasn't the technique supposed to separate us? Naruto asked in disbelief. The demon chuckled. No matter how hard they tried, no matter what they did, no matter the sealing technique, you two can't be separated. You can thank me later. QB said and continued chuckling. Naruto stayed silent and kept holding Hinata close. After a few minutes of holding each other, Hinata broke the silence. QB-kun, why? Why didn't the separation work? She asked softly. Naruto nodded and rested his chin on the top of her head while it still lied on his chest. Kits, only death could separate you from the moment I placed the seal. But, I'm not even sure if this is true. QB said. Naruto frowned. More clear, please. He said, clearly annoyed. The demon sighed. Look, the seal I gave you, Kits, well, it was supposed to only give the girl my powers. I wanted to give her my powers in order to empower her, in order to protect her. You weren't supposed to be able to communicate mentally. QB said and looked down as if in thought. What do you mean, fur ball? Naruto asked, this time emitting curiosity instead of annoyance. Well, this seal is a bonding seal. Normally, as I said, it only gives her my powers. The fact that she can talk to you like that means one thing. I thought it was only a legend, though I have experienced it too, he said, and Naruto frowned again. Out with it, he said. The demon sighed. First of all, I must tell you why I attacked Konoha. And I have no idea why QB attacked Konoha. This is my own fanfic version. See Kit, 17 years ago, I had a mate, but she was more than a mate, far more, she was my soulmate, the demon said, and both Lavender and Cerulean eyes went wide. I had the same seal, in my human form of course. We were able to communicate mentally, sense each other in a crowd, and much more. One day, the demon trailed off. What happened? QB-kun, Hinata asked softly. I returned to our nest, our home, you can say. What I found? Well, she was on the floor, blood all over. I had sensed it. I was a few days' journey away from our home, but I sensed it. It LD me like hell. It was like a very part of my soul was burning. I had an idea of what it was, but I didn't want to believe it. At the moment I felt it, I rushed home with all my strength. After a few hours, I found her on the floor, the demon said, and looked away at the painful memory. They were silent for a few minutes. Naruto could tell the fox was in deep pain. Beside her on the floor was a blue tie 8. It had the mark of the leaf on it. I couldn't really control my thoughts. I couldn't see clearly. Rage was all that was left. I attacked Konoha to get revenge, but the fourth stopped me. I had 17 years to look back at my mistake. But who can blame me? You don't know how it felt, Kit, and you don't want to know. It is worse than losing someone you love. It is far worse, he said, trailing off once more. So, you mean? Naruto started to say, but the fox just sighed. This happens once in thousands of years. Kit, this seal could be used on anyone and give my powers. But the mental connection you were given by it proves my theory true. The demon said, and they could feel him take glances at both of them. They knew what he was about to say. It was clear as water. They looked into each other's eyes, trying to find answers in questions not asked. A soulmate, Kyuubi finally added, but their expressions didn't change. They kept staring into each other's eyes, looking for emotions and much more. You can't be separated by any seal. Even death in some way can't separate you. If you find your soulmate once, then it will happen again, in every afterlife. But finding him is like looking for a needle in the ocean. Believe me, I can tell this is the first time you found each other. If one of you SS, the pain will be, I assure you, unbearable, since a part of your soul will be burned. But I did the mistake and I don't want you to do the same, Kit. Remember that always, a part of you is in each other, whether you're alive or not, it is always there. I myself didn't realize it and now I pay. The demon ended his rather long speech. But they just kept staring into each other's eyes, as if what Kyuubi was saying had no meaning, as if the world around them was nothing, as if the only thing existing was there, into nothing. Kyuubi sighed, I didn't expect this girl to be the one. I wanted to see though. You kits helped me, by letting me feel that part of myself I lost the day she SD. You repaired that part of my soul, so I wanted to repay you with this seal. Far more came though, things not expected. Take care of each other, kits. For losing each other is worse than losing anything else. Don't repeat my mistakes, protect each other, help each other. He said, but what the hell, they kept just staring into each other, as if searching for something. The awkwardness broke when they both smiled widely. He's right. It is there, Naruto-kun, she said, and he leaned forward. I know, he answered. She leaned forward herself. We won't give up, not in each other, not in anything, he said as he kept coming closer and closer. And we don't go back in our words, she said, and now their lips were inches apart. They kissed. This is our way of the ninja, they said in unison. After hours of wandering around, they found out this prison was a dimension time rift. They were somewhere in time, somewhere between the dimensions, somewhere, but nowhere. They were here, but they weren't. This sealing technique was one of the oldest ones, used to imprison people for the rest of their lives. Strange as it may seem though, years in this prison could be seconds in their real world. Where they were now, there was no one except the buildings. Nothing more, nothing less. It was rather strange. It was only this two souls in a soulless world. Well, three if you count the Kyuubi. So, how are we supposed to get out of here? Naruto said, opening a door to a house, only to find it dark and empty. Hinata was behind him, looking around worriedly. Well, normally, we can't. Kyuubi said, and Naruto frowned. What do you mean, normally? He asked. The fox sighed. Look, don't you wonder why I wasn't put here? Simple. This prison is not meant to hold demons. But as you can see, this fool's underestimated me. They think the prison will hold, he said, and Naruto's expression lightened up. Then what are we waiting for? He shouted happily, because, without my body, I can ensure nothing, he said. What do you mean, Kyuubi-kun? Asked a worried Hinata. Naruto turned to look at her with an equally worried expression. Well, even if we manage to release the prison, we might end up somewhere else than our real world, he said, and both teens gasped. What do you mean, somewhere else? Naruto asked, and the demon sighed. We are in a space between time and dimensions. We might end up in a world, for example, where Naruto is the Uzumaki heir and Hinata the Jinchuriki. The problem is, when we merge in the another world, ourselves will replace the others, so that we will be as we are now. The possibilities are endless, he said and sighed again. Naruto was still looking worried. Kyuubi noticed it. Of course, I told you, Kit, nothing can separate you two. There is no chance that you will end up in a different place and time, he said, and that seemed to calm both of them down. So, we can't just sit here whining. We have to get out of here. No matter where we go. Naruto said and slipped his hand in Hinata's. We go together, he added, and they both smiled at each other. Okay, well, now, let's get to work, shall we? Kyuubi said and chuckled. They both nodded. After an hour or so, they were ready. Kyuubi told them to concentrate the demonic chakra and let it flow in them. They both charged their Kyuubi chakra to the maximum. Hinata, using her enhanced Byakugan, found the energy source that kept the prison standing. Normally, a normal Byakugan could not see it. It was the demonic power that allowed her. They both went quickly to the main plaza. There, in the middle of the plaza, Hinata was looking at a massive whirlwind of blue chakra. Naruto could clearly sense it too due to his own powers, but only Hinata could see it. Kyuubi told Naruto to create the Cloak of the Fox, in order to protect him from the whirlwind. He did as he was told. The cloak took form and he was soon engulfed in red chakra, a tail swinging behind him. Expanding it, he also covered Hinata in it, who gasped at the sudden warm sensation. Anyone else could get burned to hell by this touch, but she had the power herself, so it couldn't harm her. They both walked towards the whirlwind. Soon, they had reached it and Naruto expanded his hand to touch it. The chakra at the point he touched, swirled away as if wanting to avoid it. They both entered the whirlwind and they were now standing in the eye of the storm. Alright, Kit, is your chakra ready? Kyuubi asked and they both nodded. Good. Now listen. You have to let it all out in a massive wave. This wave will destroy the whirlwind, thus, destroying the prison. I will use my own power to guide us through the dimensions and time. But don't expect perfection, since I don't have my full powers. I will try to land us as close as possible, he said, and they both nodded. They knew, deep inside them, that they would not see their own world again. But, they wouldn't give up. There was still hope, but even if they landed somewhere else, they would live there their lives the best way possible. That's what they wanted. Focusing their chakra once more, they took a final glance at each other before releasing a massive wave of red chakra. When the demonic chakra made contact with the normal one, the blue chakra was blown away, dissolving the whirlwind. Soon, the ground started to tremble. The whole world around them started to break in pieces, leaving blank spots here and there. Every spot that was destroyed left a pitch-black darkness in its place. Soon, the darkness had reached them, and the ground under their feet started to dissolve. Hold her, Kit. Now, Kyuubi shouted in his mind, and Naruto did as he was told. He quickly grabbed Hinata, holding her as close as possible by the waist, while she walked her own hands around him, holding him tightly. After a few seconds, the only thing they could see was each other, and darkness. Hold tight. It will begin soon. Kyuubi shouted again. They held each other even tighter if it was even possible. Not suffocating or seeing each other though. A gentle yet tight embrace they were in. But as they held each other, suddenly, and out of nowhere, images started flying in front of them. They both looked at their right. An around 10 years old Naruto was holding a stone. An equal in age Sasuke was sitting with his back on the wall, completely terrorized. Take that, you monster, Naruto said and threw the stone at Sasuke, along with other kids. It's different dimensions and different times. I'll try to land us on our own, Kyuubi said. They both looked at their left. Naruto and Hinata sat on a bench. They weren't looking at each other. Hinata then confesses to Naruto her feelings, but he just threw her away, laughing his head out and mocking her. Naruto felt his heart ache, and he tightened the grip around the girl once more. She did the same, as a tear fell from her lavender eyes. What she saw was one of the nightmares she once had. You may be soulmates, but sometimes, soulmates don't find each other. That's why I told you it was the first time you got together. Also, that's why you are so lucky, Kit. You might never had found each other, the demon said, and he could feel the nervousness radiating from them. They didn't like the idea one bit. Another image flew by. Naruto was holding Sakura, hand in hand. They walked down the streets of Konoha where many who saw them cheered and shouted in joy. There was, though, a sadly smiling Hinata on a rooftop, dry tears evident on her pale face. Naruto felt his heart ache once more. Hinata's the same, don't worry kits. As I told you, finding your soulmate isn't easy. You might find and love someone else, but your soulmate is different. You don't just love them, it is something far more, far more, in every dimension, you two are soulmates. If you come together or not, or if you know you are, is a different story, the demon said and sighed. They were closing to the end of the tunnel. They looked at their right again. Hey Hinata. A smiling, 16-year-old Naruto shouted. A girl with pale lavender eyes and ink blue hair turned around to look at him. She blushed heavily. Naruto-kun, she whispered. He came closer. Hey, how you doing, Hinata-chan? He asked. Great, she answered. He grinned. Hinata-chan, can you help me find a way to tell Sakura-chan I love her? We're going on a date today, he said, not noticing the darkness on the expression of the girl. Of course. Sure, she said hesitantly. I was blind, Naruto whispered. She looked up at him, only to see regret in his eyes. She smiled. Doesn't matter anymore, she said and leaned upwards, since he was a few inches taller, to kiss him. Their lips met in a tender kiss. I thought I loved Sakura. But I didn't know. I thought I loved her the way I love you now, but it was so different. I never had anyone to love, so I didn't know what kind of love it was. Since she was a girl, I thought I liked her, but I realized afterwards she was like a sister to me. I had a crush on her, yes, but it faded away with time. Naruto explained when they parted. No one makes me feel like you do, Hinata-chan, he said and smiled. I'm glad, she replied, smiling herself. They looked for a final time at their right. Kiba was sitting on a bench. Hinata walked by. Hey, Hinata, want to sit here with me? He asked. The girl turned around to look at him. Oh okay Kiba-kun, she said hesitantly and sat next to him. Soon, Naruto was passing by, and the moment she saw him, her face darkened. Naruto, though, had the cold mask that Sasuke always had. Oi, Naruto, Kiba shouted, raising his hand in greeting. What do you want? Naruto hissed. Kiba was set aback. Naruto then noticed Hinata sitting next to Kiba. And worst of all, his hand was around her shoulder, but she just looked down as if embarrassed. I see, he said, and jumped away. Hinata looked up, but before she could flinch, Kiba had turned her around and kissed her. Hinata held Naruto tightly again and he returned the gesture. Interesting to see how things work out in other worlds. Come on, we're here, the demon said and the both looked around them. Were. Damn it, wait, I'm close. No, not this. That was close. I nearly fell on a completely different one. Were you 2K each other? Not good. Well, I see it. Yeah. Close. Come on. Damn it. Hold tight. Now, he shouted and they held each other tight even once more. Soon, they felt a strong breeze flow by them, and they closed their eyes. When they opened them again, it was a clear sunny day, and they stood in the middle of Konoha's plaza. They quickly parted and looked around confused. Damn. Close, QB said. They looked at each other, and gasped. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.